Today we're going to talk about habitats, niches, predators, prey, and greenhouse gases. Okay, so to recap, the greenhouse effect, it helps to keep the warm atmosphere, it helps to keep it warm. If we didn't have the greenhouse effect, it would get really cold on Earth. We need it, but we don't want too much of this greenhouse effect. So every time we put more CO2, carbon dioxide, into our system here, into the atmosphere, the greenhouse effect can make it so we have climate change, okay? It might get too hot in some places. It might get too cold. We might have rain too much in some places. So we want to slow down the process and maybe not have so much CO2 going into the atmosphere. So there are different ways it can get in the atmosphere. Yeah, there are natural sources that CO2 comes from. We get it from the ocean, or the atmosphere does. The animals and plants respire, meaning that they breathe out. So yes, we make carbon dioxide by breathing out. Forest fires release CO2. Volcanic eruptions do. And so does decomposing organic matter. What that means is that anything that was alive and dies, it goes back into like decomposing back into the earth. And that decomposing process creates CO2. So those are all natural ways. Now, humans can actually make CO2 a not so natural way. So we burn a lot of fuel, and we burn it in our cars. We burn it, so you can see that list. We burn it for electrical power. We, again, burn it for our cars and transportation, buses, that sort of thing. Anything that has an engine on it and burns fuel. Okay, electric cars do not do that, so that's a good thing. Okay, they're much more expensive to make, but I think in the future it'll become more prevalent. Okay, chemicals and petroleum production and agricultural production. So agricultural productions means that it's farmers out there. They are making their fields, they're using tractors, they're using combines, anything to help them farm and uses gas that's going to make CO2. So here's some pictures so you can see power plants make CO2, burning forests, and transportation that uses gas. Okay, so habitats. It's like an organism's address. A habitat is like an address. So turtles and cattails live in a pond. They have the same address. They can live in the same habitat. Here we have a habitat for humans. Is that a real picture? I don't know. Might be photoshopped, but it would be pretty cool to live in that kind of an apartment building. Okay, your gut, meaning your intestines, actually have bacteria in them, and they help us to digest our food. We want that good bacteria in there. We don't want bad bacteria. We want the good stuff. Remember learning about the appendix? It should be right about here. I don't see it. It's probably tucked under there. But here's your stomach. It goes into the small intestine. These small intestine is really long, but then it all goes wraps around, and then it goes into the large intestine right here, which is called the colon, and it goes up and around and behind, and then it ends up going out your pooper. Okay, we looked at that a couple weeks ago. Okay, a niche. A niche is like the role that some species play in an ecosystem. It's like the organism's occupation or job. So in this picture, what is the honeybee's job? It's to make honey, right? All right. What is, and that would be the niche. What is the honeybee's habitat? Okay, the honeybee's habitat, you could say it's the honeycomb, like the place, the honeybee hive. Or you could say, anywhere that it flies around, that's its habitat. Okay. What is the beaver's niche? Meaning, what is his job? His job is to make those dams, right? To make a house. What is the beaver's habitat? Whatever lake he's living in, or maybe he lives in a river or in a pond. So you have to know the difference between habitat and niche. These guys, they all live in the same habitat, but they have a different niche. They have to, otherwise they wouldn't survive. So the flamingo's niche is eating here in the deeper parts. The duck here, his niche is a little bit lower area, so they're not in the same areas directly, but this guy eats from these grasses, aquatic plants, seeds, snails, insects. The avocet, he eats along the top of the water and swishes his bill side to side and eats the little insects on top. The next guy, this guy, it looks like he pries open bivalves like clams, okay? And that's his niche. His job is to pry open those clams. This guy, the plover, he darts around on the beach and grassland, and they hunt for insects and small invertebrates. So again, they live in the same habitat, but they have definitely different jobs, different niches. Okay, competition. So organisms compete for many different things. Sunlight, food, water, space. Okay, so what do you think these animals, they look like cows, were competing for? They weren't fighting each other, but they were competing for water, it looks like. What are these trees competing for? Sunlight. Yeah. What are these people competing for? Space. Yep. They need more space. Okay. What are these animals competing for? We've got lion, or it looks like we've got a hyena in there, we've got a lion in there, and we've got some big birds. They might be vultures. If you said food, yes. Okay, this great horned owl on the left and this red-tailed hawk on the right, they live in the same habitat. They have the same nesting territory and eat the same prey. Why are they not in direct competition? Think about it. Okay. What happens is the owl actually eats at night and hunts. You can tell by the big eyes, okay, because they're trying to let more of the light in, like the moonlight, so they can see their prey. And the hawk actually hunts during the daytime. So they're not hunting at the same time. They might be hunting the same animals, but not at the same time. So they're not competing. Okay. So again, they have the same habitat, but different niches. All right, predation. When one organism actually feeds on another, like kills it, starts eating it, might eat the whole thing, might not, but it definitely killed it right then. Okay, so here is a lynx. Those live in Minnesota. And a snowshoe hare. Those also live in Minnesota. So the lynx is trying to eat that snowshoe hare, right? Okay, which one is the predator? If you said lynx, you're right. Which one is the prey? If you said rabbit, you are right. Which one is the predator? That would be the lion. Which one is the prey? That would be the zebra. Okay, so we're done here, and what you're going to do is answer a few questions. Have a great day.